Yeah, that's why
Bigger
I'm
than
not building it.
bigger than my head. Took me.
That looks bigger than I thought it was. Yeah,
Yeah, it is. It's a big old
big
mod. It's
boy.
fucking amazing though. It's really good. It's a really nice build. Took me like 4 evenings, I think.
Oh. Yeah, I was thinking, whilst I'm in the house and can't leave, I've got 3 Lego sets I could build. But I
Ooh.
have no space.
I don't have a
4.
table.
I've got 4. That's easily. You can just do it on the floor, mate.
Yeah, it's the and then what? Where do I put things?
You've got a whole house.
It's the way you put things, isn't it?
Just put it
Just
on
all
the
the floors, every corner of every room has just got another piece of another Lego
Oh.
set.
We are live and we have been for a bit.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. My audio is probably all over the place. I've been bashing the
Oh.
hot filter and things about. Looks stable enough now, so that's good. I'll crack us in then, I suppose.
Yeah.
Welcome, friends, to Tanked Up, the podcast all about video games and beer. I'm one of your hosts, Ben, here with Lucy.
Hi.
Hey, and Aadil.
Hey.
I think it's episode 351.
Yes.
Because we missed a couple of weeks. There's a couple of lost episodes from a couple of previous weeks as well that will be coming out at some point in the near future when we get our time back. We've all been ridiculously busy. And it's just the way that life goes, isn't it?
2/3. I've been only a little busy. Not anymore.
You haven't been allowed to go outside. You've had to stay indoors.
No. But if you do end up having to stay indoors, play Stacklands, which is just buy it. I'm telling both of you now, especially you, Ben. Just buy it.
Okay.
You will find no time to play it, but just buy it. It's £4. You'll love it. PC.
Okay.
It's a, I guess, roguelike, even though I only died like twice. Card-based village sim game.
Ooh, nice. Okay. Stacklands. All right. I'll
I'll
take
put
a
it
look
on
at
your
that.
wish list.
Yeah.
Just earmark it, because I in the space over the space of like 36 hours, I think I played for about 27.
Wow. Nice.
And I got all the achievements and completed it. So
Perfect.
mm.
Added to my wish list. Done.
Good stuff. And you, listener, add it.
Perfect.
It's from Sockpop, who put out like a game a month. I think they're gonna start slowing that kind of cadence down, like do it every few months. But yeah, they just make like once a year. They just make probably a game that's like on my top 10 each year. It's just like small little
nice,
compact little things. They're just great, really well made and designed. So, yeah.
I'll try and fit that in. Who knows? We'll see. Let's open up some beers though, and we'll jump into what will be a little bit of a shorter episode. We've got a couple of games to talk about, but as we say, we're busy people. There's still stuff. There's still loads of the evening to get work done in. So, Lucy, what are you drinking this evening, if anything?
I am drinking a beer from Vocation. This is the series. I think it's 4 beers where they've got a take on like a famous British chocolate. This is the Snickers one. It's called Naughty and Nice, but you can obviously tell it's Snickers by the design on the can.
The series is called Naughty and Nice, isn't it? I think they're all
branded. Oh, is it? Okay.
I think so.
Apologies. Yeah, this is the roasted peanut caramel chocolate imperial stout. That's the mouthful. But
nice.
Yeah, it's Snickers because they've done them. Is it Milky Bar, Bounty?
Bounty, yeah.
And was it
a Maltese one? Is it a red labelled one?
Mm-hmm. Which I don't really eat chocolate, but they're all chocolates I like. So it was like, But the one I love the most, which is like forbidden fruit, because my sister has a nut allergy, is Snickers. So it's like
I'm allowed to eat it outside the front door. I can't bring it in.
Either that, or I get the beer version.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yes, I pour it as a little short
Nice.
time.
Amazing.
Pitch black. Ooh, that smell. So yeah, it's been so long. I've forgotten how we do this. Do we Do
Oh,
I tell
mate,
you
drink
about
it,
the
drink
beer
it,
first?
drink it
Or
now. Tell us
do you
how
not?
you feel about it now, mate. Tell us how you
It's
feel about it.
been
You've
so
been nosing.
long.
No, it's fine.
It's been so long.
Just let us know.
Oh, it
Go
smells
for it.
delightful. Reminds me of like the smell of like a Munson beers. Just like
Mm. Super
ooh,
rich.
yeah, super rich. It does smell like a Snickers bar, especially like the gooey, is it caramel inside of it or whatever. Oh, bit of getting like a little bit of marshmallow as well. But yeah, just super gooey, caramelly chocolate. Mm.
Nice.
Mm. That's got a taste at the start that I didn't quite expect. Mm.
Good taste or just an off-putting taste?
A licorice kind of taste,
Interesting.
Okay.
which ordinarily I would hate because I don't like licorice. But
Mm.
it's just subtle enough. But it's immediately what I notice. But then it quickly fades into, more chocolatey, and it's very sweet. It's very sweet. It's slightly cloying in that sense. I think the licorice taste adds to that kind of cloying effect. But it's it feels like a beer that I should hate because it is quite sweet. It tastes like it's got a little bit of licorice in it, but it's also like quite light. It's 9%. Did I mention that? It is 9%, isn't it? Yeah, good old marathon. Yeah, it's 9%, but it doesn't taste like that at all. It's like not thin, but quite. It still feels quite light-bodied, which is
Okay.
kind of weird, and like almost got that like Coca-Cola-esque aspartame refreshingness kind of taste to it as well.
Okay. Okay.
These all sound like things that I would hate if one of you described it to me, but it's actually really quite nice.
Okay.
Ooh.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah, that's nice. I don't think it evokes Snickers exactly. So I'd really be interested to see what the others taste like. But yeah, it's a nice beer. I don't think it has quite the depth that maybe I'm looking for in a stout.
Right. Okay.
But in terms of like the different flavor profiles and everything going on, but it's still a really nice beer. Yeah, it's sweet but not overwhelmingly so for my palate anyway.
Fair.
So, yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about my beer since I've opened it as well. So I've got a supermarket special, but it's a Northern Monk. And it's their Festive Star, so a little bit of a Christmas beer. The 2022 edition, it's a vanilla, cinnamon, and chocolate porter at 5.2%. So it's the flavor test says a festive twist, packed with all things sweet, spiced, and nice. I think that's pretty much it. Yes, it is for this beer. As soon as I cracked the can, I did get that cinnamon coming straight off. A little bit of chocolate as well on the nose. Still getting that now, but it's got that sweetness to it. So I don't know if it's just that hint of vanilla kicking in as well on it, but it does give it that. I don't know. This is the combination of the cinnamon and the vanilla. It gives it that kind of artificial sweetness sort of flavor to it, and I'm worried that now it's only 5.2 and it's a supermarket one, that it's gonna be, as you were mentioning, Lucy, that slightly lighter aspartame kind of feel to it, but we'll see. Definitely got a lot of that spice, that cinnamon off the nose as well. Obviously, as dark as you would imagine. White, frothy head though, rather than sort of, hasn't got much of a hint of brown to it in its head.
Mm-hmm.
It is a little thinner, but it's not too thin. It's not watery, but it hasn't got that kind of velvety or even close, like syrupy kind of feel that I want from a bit more of a kind of a heavy winter stout, let's say, something that is a bit more kind of Christmassy. And unfortunately, the flavors that you get on the nose are dialed right back in the flavor. The cinnamon doesn't kick in very much. It's there. It's like really far at the back. So as your palate dries out, you get the cinnamon, but it's quite light. And you get a little hint of that vanilla as well. Not much. But I'm not getting a huge amount of chocolate coming through on this. There's a little bit of bitterness, a little bit of maybe more roasted notes to it than chocolate. I don't know if we've got anything like it has got lactose in it. Doesn't give me much else. Cinnamon, chocolate essence, vanilla essence. It doesn't tell me the hops or the yeasts in there either. So it seems like it's got the right ingredients and it's trying, but maybe, again, if this was like an 8% beer, it might just be that next level of flavour as everything is kind of stepped up slightly. It's pleasant enough and it's a very easy drink because the flavours aren't that big. Because it's a little lighter, because it's a little weaker, it makes it just a very sort of, cool. I can drink 4 of these and, without having any repercussions whatsoever.
I don't know about that. You'll at least have to go to the toilet a bit more.
Well, that's probably true. Yes, absolutely. I haven't got much more to say about this, really.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Aadil, we'll come to you then.
Sure. I've got North Light User Syndrome. It's American Brown Ale, 6%, 330ml can. Dark, rich caramel and chocolate malt character is balanced with the addition of New World hops, bringing firm bitterness and punchy citrus flavor and aroma. Yeah, so just a nice, simple 6% brown.
Yeah, I think I saw that one. Is that a supermarket one or is it elsewhere?
Elsewhere.
Yeah.
But it might be in the supermarkets, I'm not sure.
A North tap room opened up in Birmingham.
Did it?
About a week and a half ago.
Okay.
2 weeks ago. Haven't yet made it down there. Plan to. Because I do very much like North beers. Yeah, it's the only one outside of wherever they are, Yorkshire.
I was just about to say, where is North? They're not Leeds, are they?
I know they're North.
Leeds.
They are Leeds. Okay.
Yeah, Yorkshire. Yeah.
That was it's in because Northern Monker Leeds. And I always think, North aren't in Leeds. That's where Northern Monk are.
Right.
I'm just fucking wrong.
That's North, isn't it?
Yeah.
Turns out there's just Leeds. So as you can see,
I know Dudley's West as well.
I was doing fine with the pour, and then I got distracted, and it immediately grew ahead, which is like actually, maybe it won't focus. But it's super thick and creamy. Like, look at how solid that is.
That's a block. That's not moving.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to power through, I think. It's got lovely malty nose. And I think, it says something about citrus. Yeah, I'm getting like a light, almost lemon flavor rather than lemon citrus. Like that peak you get in like cleaning fluids, that lemon, like that. Just it's the sharpness of that, but still smelling more not artificial. Just underneath this really
brown out to get that citrus cutting.
I mean, and it's like underneath everything. It just has this peak of that's there. But if you just gave it a smell quickly, you probably wouldn't notice it. You're getting this like nice rich malt, sweetness, a little milk chocolate, like milk, slightly dark milk chocolate, like quality milk chocolate, where the cacao, like the chocolate's coming through. Once you drink through the head.
If you tip back far enough, you'll get it.
This is really good. It's deceptively drinkable.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna let it warm up a bit, just because it's a bit chilly, and I think that like punchy citrus flavor that they called, I think it's being a bit muted by the temperature. But it's it's a great brown ale that has this like slightly chocolatey, slightly caramelly tone to the maltiness. It's that 6% is giving it a nice viscosity, and you can see just with that thickness of the head, it just has this like very wonderful body coming with it. But it's exceedingly drinkable at the same time. Like it's not you could eat it. I mean, I've taken a fair few big sips because it's like, oh, this is tasty. Oh wait, 6% beer. Watch yourself. But also, I have a feeling it's going to open up with just by warming up a little bit more. Just because it's like on like a small sip, it actually starts with that citrus, and kind of it lingers, and everything else sort of curves up and then over. And I'm curious whether, because I think they said punchy citrus flavor and aroma. I'm wondering if that punchiness is being muted because it's cold. So I'm gonna do my best not to throw this back, even though it's really tasty and effortlessly drinkable.
Well, we'll be incredibly quick. Well, I say incredibly quick. We'll give the games we're going to talk about a fair bit of time, but we've only got a couple of games to talk about this evening, so we'll get back around to the beers and final thoughts on them. Hopefully, some additional thoughts from you, Aadil, once it's warmed up. I'm going to jump in.
Sounds good.
With what I kind of have and haven't been playing. I've had a code for a game called Ixion for a few weeks now, and I've spent a little bit of time with it. 26 hours over the last 2 weeks. Some of that has been having it on and paused and kind of doing a little bit and going away and coming about a little bit, but not, maybe 6 of the 26 hours, something like that. It's made by Bulwark Studios, and it came out yesterday on the 7th of December. It is a kind of like a management sim / city builder / slightly survival-ish, but it's set on a space station. It's a game, I think, which isn't kind of pushing towards that like city builder market. It has those elements to it, but it's got a narrative running through it as well. It's not a, like City Skylines is, hey, just come and build a city, do some stuff. Here's some things to try and do. Ixion has a narrative which runs through. It takes you through sort of the tutorial levels, tells you kind of the different buildings that you need on your space station to be able to deal with the different kinds of issues that you have on there. And then it kind of throws everything in the air with the narrative and goes, uh-oh, this thing's happened. Now we've got this actually, a full story that's kind of running us through. And there are little kind of points where you go, great, I need to have X amount of houses for my people because I need to make sure that they're all working adequately to keep the space station running, to be able to then go and pull the space station over to this space, to be able to do something in the narrative and then go somewhere else kind of thing. So the narrative is tied quite well into sort of the main sort of quest lines, what they want you to do. And it's held my hand through the tutorial, kind of the first act, I suppose, of the game. And it's pulled me in enough that I just want to know more about the narrative. And I'm enjoying the sort of the city builder element to it. But it's the narrative that's really kind of pulling me back, and a little bit of the space exploration as well. So in Ixion, the space station or the spaceship that you build on is it's not spherical, it's cylindrical. Right. So there's 6 sectors on the space station. Only one is open at the start. And it's kind of a grid of like 20 squares by like 60, something around about that. And you get the kind of the scale of the game because a housing block which houses 15 people takes up 9 squares. It's 3 by 3, and buildings change in size. So an airlock is much bigger. It has to be built up against one of the walls, either on the top or the bottom. So there's a little bit of limitation in where some of the buildings can kind of go to show how you can sort of form these different almost like districts through the space station. And I played up to a point where I'm 3 kind of sectors in. Very, very quickly filled up the first through the kind of the or through the first act, and into the second. Broke into the second, I think, as part of like almost like a sub quest line, where it popped up and said, "We would like you to expand because there's too many people here." So it sort of like ran through like that, and then again quickly filled that up as well. But it wants you to kind of sort of keep on top of the building management stuff, and it doesn't penalize you for going, "Oh bollocks, I've made a mistake in putting these kinds of things here," because I can just deconstruct this building, I get some of the material back, and then I'll rebuild it somewhere else. It penalizes you in a way that you're not able to use that building at that point, and if something goes wrong, then you might not have a response to be able to deal with that, or you then might not be making materials and converting, say, like iron, which you've sent your mining ship out to go and collect, into steel to be able to build new buildings, or silicone into carbon, and all of these kinds of extra elements that it has kind of going on, which leads you into building the higher level and later game sort of stuff. But it builds on all of that really, really well. And again, I'm only in maybe in Act 2 still, but I actually restarted the entire game, because I got to a point in Act 2 and I'm like, oh bollocks, I really don't like how I've set up all of my stuff. Like I didn't get to the point where I like got a game over on it, but I hadn't built enough like food farms, so every cycle they weren't getting enough food, so my workers weren't working as well, which then impacted on everything else. I'm like, oh, this is I don't know how to get back from this point. I've expanded too quickly. I've moved into the other sectors. They're not running very well, and my main sector is just falling apart completely. Let's start again.
Yep.
And I've got back to the same point that I was at, basically. So
yeah, at that point, you know the loop, and you know the. That's. I mean,
absolutely. It probably took me sort of like 10 hours to get to that point. Well,
Yeah.
maybe not. Maybe it was a little bit less than that. But then the next time I did it, it was only half that amount of time.
yeah,
to get
it's so satisfying though when it's like, oh, I've cracked the code. I know what I'm doing next time. You know.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, like Stacklands is a bit more of a. Well, it's a roguelike. Like once you die, it's reset or whatever. So it's like chance to, you know, you use the knowledge that you've received, and you know, well, that's the whole point of a roguelike, I get, but you know, it's just a good feeling when that happens, you know.
Absolutely.
In something like this, where it's like a sim game.
Yeah, it's a little bit more. I think you probably like a roguelike, you imagine that quick turnaround, don't you? Whereas this is a bit more of an investment, I think. You know, if I'd opened up 5 sectors and I'd pushed the narrative onto, you know, say like the penultimate act, whatever that might be, and then suddenly I get that game over, that's going to be like, oh, for fuck's sake. And, you know, I would start again, because again, you're going to hit those points quite early. You know what you're doing. You can build up to that kind of point. One of the elements of the game is you've got 3 views. One is the ship view, where you're kind of in the center of this cylinder looking at the different sectors. That's how you kind of build your buildings. There's then an outside view of the ship, and then there's a solar system view. And once you've built a couple of different things, you can send your ships and probes off to explore the solar system. And one of the things I really like doing on my first run, and one of the reasons why I started to run out of materials, was because I kept building probes and just sending them out into the solar system to be like, oh, what's this over here? What's over here? The thing I found on the second run, and I don't know whether it's definitely the same for me, whether it's the same for every player, is that I had to rediscover where the planets were in the solar system.
Okay.
And on the second run, they're in exactly the same place as they were on the first run. So whether that is just set, it's not like randomly generated on each kind of playthrough about where these things are, again, allowed me to go, great, I know that they want me to go to Jupiter. Let's just send a probe and see if it's where it was in the last one. Oh, it is. Great. I know that I can then blast through these next narrative points, and I've got to go over there. I know that I did a sort of like a subquest over in Mars to deconstruct the space station that they had over there, or I went to Mercury to collect some science points to help me with the technology tree and stuff. So it just allowed having that knowledge and that experience of that first playthrough has allowed that to just speed up that little bit. And I don't know whether that's what has kind of pulled me through a bit more in the second playthrough, along with the narrative and wanting to know, and things like the flavor text and the little sub quests and stuff having very good writing for me to want to go and experience those kinds of things. And they're multiple choice as well with some of these sub quests. So you might go to Mars, and one of the options is explore the base, or the other one is just deconstruct it and take the resources. And in the first one, I'm like, I explored the base, but I know that there was then another option past that. So I'm going to explore again, but I might choose the other option this time. There's a little bit of replayability in that sort of sense. And, stuff can happen. I think on one of my sort of missions, a couple of people died because I said, like, clear the debris or something. And it was like these two guys were far too aggressive with trying to clear it, and basically just got covered in sand or something and just swamped over because it's Mars. So there's lots of little bits which just keep me going, oh, I fucked that up. Do I do it again? No, it's fine. I've lost a few people. That's okay. We can deal with that. Oh,
they're expendable.
Oh, I've used all of my steel. Bollocks. Or there's there's not enough food for everybody. Bollocks. So there are those kinds of points which you'll definitely hit and go, how can I come back from this? Is it do I wipe this whole sector and not worry about it and just go into sector 2 and just concentrate on that and then rebuild back into sector 1 again? There's a little bit of strategy perhaps around what you might be able to do there, but I haven't had the time yet to explore that too much more, and I don't know whether I will. I think it's, again, as I say, for me, it's definitely the narrative that's pulling me through a little bit more. It is a satisfying kind of management game and building and that sort of stuff as well, to keep me there to experience the narrative. It could be a great narrative, but if the gameplay was rubbish, I'd just go and watch it on stream or YouTube or something like that to understand what the story might actually be.
Yeah.
But the gameplay is enough for me to be like, yeah, I'm enjoying this. I like city builders and that kind of management sim. So it's definitely ticking a lot of boxes for me. And because it's got that insane sci-fi vibe, it hooks me straight away with that. It's got that like chilled lo-fi sort of soundtrack to it as well. So it kind of is just like, it's a really good sci-fi package too.
Oh yeah, like the art and imagine if games looked like this in the 90s and 80s. It's like, imagine how much happier we'd be as people. Sometimes I want to build a time machine purely for to go back and like sample foods that are like no longer sold or something like that. Go back to like food places that are shut down.
Nice.
Anyway,
Yeah.
And B, just to give this to somebody, even myself, in like the early 90s, and just like, doesn't matter if the game's bad, it looks like this. And it's just like, we'd be so happy.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I mean, I got a press release for this, and I was like, that looks alright, This is not my kind of game, but this is the look is doing it for me. Like CRPG kind of isometric kind of looks nice.
It does, and I think it plays very well with that in the sort of in the ship view, but also when you have that much wider solar system view as well. Kind of everything is zoomed right out, and you get that you get the scale of kind of what's going on. Obviously, it's all incredibly shrunk down, so you do have a dot which represents Earth or the moon or something, and then the next one is here rather than over here, because you wouldn't be able to see anything on your screen if they showed the solar system to its scale. But they do well enough to still give you a sense of, oh, okay, the ship moves incredibly slowly as well. And so you're like, go cargo ship to this asteroid that's been mined. And it's like, yes, we will go. It is taking us 4 cycles to get all the way over there. And oh no, bollocks. Send a probe out to find one that's a little bit closer to mine, because I'm going to run out of something at some point very, very quickly.
Yeah. I'm just thinking of Stacklands and how it looks like. It's got like a thousandth of the art. It's just like still like it's hitting on all the everything you said, like that gameplay loop and everything. It's just like that's how I felt about Stacklands.
Nice, good.
Maybe I do like strategy games, and I just don't have time. And then
I think we've
I
had this
don't
conversation
know.
before, Lucy. You definitely like strategy games.
Yeah, I think I play more strategy games than you do.
You like strategy games and you secretly like card games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing you actually are the biggest Final Fantasy VII fan in the room.
Oh.
Two
That's
out of
where
three's
your
all right.
logic falls apart. Yeah. Yeah.
It's always somewhere.
Nice. I'll probably have more thoughts on Ixion kind of in the coming weeks, if not into sort of next year. When my time will never be my own, but when I have some more time to be able to.
You're right.
put
It's
into
true.
it. Yeah. So yes, that's sort of initial thoughts on Ixion. And so we'll jump to you, Lucy, not for Stacklands, but for something else.
No. I've talked enough about Stacklands. One more thing on Stacklands though. I did look at the reviews. There was like 15,000. So this game sold well
Wow.
by those statistics. But so yeah, good for them. The game that I'm going to talk about is, I guess you could call it a organizational puzzle game. It's called A Little to the Left. I think it's on Steam and maybe Nintendo. The Nintendo Switch. That's the one. Imagine if I said it was for like the Wii, but yeah, it's a puzzle game, and it is basically about it's level by level. You're organizing these little vignettes, these little things, just normal things that you'd find around, like, an everyday household. So like moving jars on like a shelf in the right position, or books, or putting things into a tool set, or a desk drawer. It's all about organizing things. I guess it's sort of like, think of unpacking or a Wilmot's warehouse, but where this game differs from those games, which I really love, like unpacking was one of my favorite games last year. Wilmot's warehouse, absolutely loved that the year it came out. Probably on my top 10 that year. This game is a little bit more frustrating.
Okay.
Because in those games like unpacking, and even to a much larger extent, Wilmot's warehouse, the organization is down to you. It's down to your own, how you see things, how you organize things, how you sort things in your own mind and head. Is it by color? Is it by size? Is it by height? Whatever. Whereas in this game, whilst there are, for most of the levels, different alternate solutions. So it's like there's a book and books on a bookshelf. Okay, you can do it by height, or you can do it by, say, thickness, and those are two different solutions. And it's like, okay, that's fine, but not all the levels have that. And sometimes you are just trying to figure out what the designer wanted, what the people who made this, what is their thinking process. And it's like, it's impossible to do that, because everybody's mind is different. Everyone's mind is, you could have a brain that's very OCD driven, or you could just be like, oh yeah, whatever. It's like there's so many different spectrums in that, and it's like it's hard to pinpoint like what exactly the designer was thinking, and how they would have organized something. Sometimes the game does give you clues in, like, when you're arranging something on the screen and just dragging and dropping these items. Sometimes they click into place, and just this kind of imagine like a grid. But that doesn't always happen, and you never know which puzzle is going to have that kind of like time where they all just set into place. And sometimes it's just so hard to predict. on some puzzles, it's like, okay, I feel like a genius. I've got it. I know exactly. It's like I saw one, solution, which is the straightforward solution, and then you're like, oh, what happens if I did it by the colors of the rainbow or something like that? And it's like you feel like a genius when you've found an alternate solution. But the times where you just don't see it because everybody's different, it just becomes so frustrating. And it's like the game has, it's made some concessions in that sense. It's like you can just skip a level and it doesn't matter. It's like
Okay.
you want your progress is not blocked if you can't think of a solution.
Right.
Right.
So does that mean is everything kind of open straight away, or does it run you through levels
It
and then
runs
you
you
can just
through,
like
yeah.
skip? Yeah.
Yeah. Runs you through level. I think there's like 5 different sets of levels. And yeah, it's just different household objects, and I don't think there's any much theme to like the order of the puzzles, but it's pretty much separated into 5 different blocks. But you can just be like skip, 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 skip. Do the ones that you can and just skip over them. So it's really there's no friction in that sense, because it is meant to be a relaxing experience. I mean, the art style's really great. It's got like this cartoony art style. There's always this little cat that appears every now and then. For us pre-cat people, that just like starts messing up with your organization. So that's really charming. And yeah, the music's great, really soothing, really relaxing. It's a game that's meant to chill and mellow you out, and it does for about 75% of the time. The other 25% is enraging.
Oh no.
You're just like, what is the solution? What do you want me to do? And then you look up, you can get a hint, which is basically you go to the hint screen, which is in the main menu, and you're basically doing this like stencil, using the pencil to reveal this picture of what the solution is.
Okay.
So you can just, scrape out a little corner and just have a look. Okay, which one's there? Which is the first book on this shelf? And just look at it. Get a little sneak peek. But some of them I was just like, just reveal the whole picture to me because I don't even understand how we got to this point. What is this solution? Why are you organizing things in this way? So yeah, it's. But if you see it, you see it. It's just one of those. It's impossible to predict how different people are going to take things, and it's not something that you can play test because, say, 75% people get that right, 25% people are going to be like, I do not understand. So yeah, but overall it was a nice little experience. Probably about 3 hours. So
okay,
yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
So it didn't
nice
have
little
a.
experience.
It's just sort of a series of unrelated puzzles as well. There's not sort of like any narrative kind of pulling it through.
No, not really. Apart from your cat's an arsehole, which we all know.
The ultimate narrative.
Yeah. The tale as old as time.
Nice. Yeah, it does look really good in the just the aesthetic, just that color palette that they take, the tone they take.
Yeah, really muted kind of tones.
Yeah, I really like that.
Like pastel colors. It looks really nice. And there is like a daily, a daily sort or whatever it's called that you can do, but it's just pretty much a remix on the puzzles that you've already seen through the main game. So probably isn't going to have that much longevity in terms of interest from.
It's you're not dropping back in to.
No, I only have now and then, just because there's achievements to have.
Of course. I thought you finally made peace with not giving a shit about those.
Oh, I do, but
Sure.
Yeah, I have issues.
We all do.
What are you playing it on the Steam Deck?
Yeah, Steam Deck. Sorry.
It's just I saw it
and it works well on there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good. I see in the like reveal trailer or one of them that it's on the Switch as well. It does seem like Steam Deck and Switch are probably the best platforms to play something like this on?
I mean, the drag and drop definitely works better with a mouse.
Okay.
So I've played it also on my main PC.
Mm.
Yeah, it probably works better with a mouse, but it's absolutely serviceable and quite accessible on handheld. There's not much. There's no resistance in the controls in that sense. So yeah,
Right.
nice little experience. I did enjoy it overall on the whole. Yeah.
Good. Okay. Well, two good experiences for us this evening then with the games that we've been playing. We will wrap up there for the evening, but we'll come back to Aadil's beer at least because it's had a good sort of half an hour, 40 minutes to sort of warm up. Well, just to see if there was any difference in that flavour that you were getting.
Yeah, very much so. The citrus did exactly what I thought it would do. It blossomed forward. It's now a main part of the taste. It's giving it a very strong bitterness. So instead of being this like luscious caramelly malty like one very rich note, it's now has that note, but right on top, like it still is a unified taste, but in the middle is this or rather, it's this like melding of this bitter sort of bitter lemony citrus note that luckily is less harsh and less sort of near that like I said it was kind of the sharpness you get from like cleaning fluid lemon. That's all gone now. It's the two warmed up together, and now you actually have this caramelly bitter with a slight citrus or lemon tint beer. It tastes much more like a brown ale than sort of just a darker beer because that bitterness is bringing it back to the ale side.
I do like a brown ale.
It's very, very good. I can still recognize the beer I tasted when it was cold, but I'm actually kind of surprised at how much it opened up. Yeah, it's really good. I would definitely have another one of these immediately afterwards. That richness is still there, but yeah, it's so well like woven together, that sort of rich caramelly maltiness and that like, oh no, this is an ale and it's hitting you with a little bitterness, not too much. That they're working together, great. Yeah, great beer.
Nice, good. As we've started with you, Aadil, we'll roll backwards through the beers. Only because I haven't got much more to say about the Festive Star. Flavour didn't change much through it. I didn't get much more sort of either of the cinnamon or of the vanilla, not any more chocolate kind of coming through. It stayed it was consistent in its flavour. It was just very light and easy drinking, but I wanted something a little bit bigger, even just a hint of that chocolate, just a little more of it would have pulled that together a bit more. So Lucy, we'll come to you.
Yeah, it's don't have much more to say. Also,
Okay.
I was not really evoking Snickers. Nothing does. Such a good chocolate. But it is a very nice beer. It succeeds at getting that caramel taste across. That's probably the dominant flavour. That bit of licorice has pretty much died down, and the aspartame taste has died down. I think it's become a bit thicker as I poured the rest of the can in, so maybe that was the well, not the issue, but that was why I was had that flavour profile at the start. But it's good. It could be a bit sweet and cloying for some people, but it's stout weather. This is what you want. It's got a nice bit of body to it now. It's got thickness. It's got the dark chocolate malts. It's good. It's good. So yeah, naughty and nice Snickers version. I want to try the others. Contrast and compare.
Yeah,
because it's just an excuse for me to drink more beer.
That's great.
You just have to do like one a night for the next 3 nights, as well as there's 4 of them, I suppose.
I'm thinking just do them all at once. Same night. How else are you going to get the best,
That's fair.
Absolutely. I'm a scientist, Ben.
That's true. We have got our end of the year show coming up in a couple of weeks. as well. So
Yeah, I was
there's an
making a
excuse.
list.
Did you check it
Yeah,
twice?
I did. Not you. Very good. Not you. No, this is naughty and nice. So not or. But yes, I think I've settled on a top 8. so yeah.
Top
And
8. Okay.
unless because I don't. There's some games that it's like I like them, but do I like them more than any of the other to get up onto that top 10? So yeah, I'll just list off a few honourable mentions on the podcast and stick with a solid top 8 at the moment. Maybe it'll be 9 by the time we get there. Maybe I'll play something like Stacklands or something, you know. So.
Perfect. Well, listener, stick with us. We are at TactipCast on the socials. I'm at Nova_47. Aadil is.
At the Omniarch.
And Lucy is.
Confined. Juicy Loose 9.
And we are all over at outoflives.net or Out of Lives Pod, I think, on Twitter, or Out of Lives Net on Twitter. It's one of those.
It's been so long.
It has been absolutely ages, and I've not written anything, put anything on the site for ages. Anyway, that's a completely different kind of conversation. Come and join us in our Discord. Hit one of us up, and you can come and talk to us all the time about the beers that we're not drinking, the beers that we should be drinking, and the games that we are and should be playing as well. Rate and review us on your podcast service of choice because it's always helpful. Tell a friend. That is the most helpful way of being able to spread joy to people's lives and giving them the gift that they always wanted of Christmas, of 3 idiots talking about beer and games. What else is
you
there?
lost the metaphor on that one.
Just a bit.
Yeah.
There's some other stuff, YouTube and all of those kinds of things. We're on Twitch. That's where we are right now. Come and join us each and every week, almost. Potentially back to normal when things have quietened down a little bit on the
possibly in the new year.
Yeah, absolutely in the new year. But we will hopefully be with you next week, and then I think just before Christmas we'll be doing our end of year show where each and every year we've listed off roughly our top 10. Occasionally Lucy throws a curveball and does some random categories, like it's the Game Awards or something, and she's just sort of throwing out what was it one year, like best cup of tea game. I think is the one that always sticks in my mind.
Yeah,
which is the gaming category.
Yeah, I don't even remember what the game was. Just remember what the category was.
I mean, that's the mark of a good category, isn't
it? They should hire me on the Game Awards panel.
Exactly, that's what it is.
I won't be doing best esports coach.
Exactly. Yeah, completely gone are the days of just like best game. Who needs best game, mate? What we need to know is really niche, very bespoke categories that talk to people.
Best number 9.
The toilet.
That's actually on today. I thought it would be like
it's
now. It's like at midnight.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
oh yeah.
I might do because I've already destroyed my sleep pattern playing Stacklands at 4 a.m. each night. So I might do it. What's another day?
That's fair.
I might, but I don't want to. Because they're just going to be like, oh, here's this game that's like AAA and boring coming out next year, and everyone's like, oh, did you say it?
You'll see it all in the morning anyway.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's the same shit,
We'll
isn't
see.
it?
We'll see. I'll probably stay up. God damn it. I want to see Vampire Survivors win Game of the Year.
No, it's not good though, is it?
It's got DLC coming out.
Is it?
It's basically a whole new game. It's like 15 more weapons, like more characters, more levels. It's basically just the same game again, but different stuff. Yeah.
If it's out tonight, then you don't have to worry about 12:30.
Well, mate, just shadow drops it in a bit. It's like, hey, Vampire Survivors DLC is now.
Okay.
Just to leave our viewers, our listeners with that. One of our favourite games, I would imagine, that might be talked about in a future episode, Vampire Survivors, has DLC called Legacy of the Moonspell. Release date is currently...
it's a Castlevania title.
It very much is.
Absolutely is, yes. The release date on Steam is coming soon. So there's the potential for a little shadow drop during the Game Awards.
Oh,
That'd be pretty boss.
I looked at Steam DB. Not Steam, some other thing. I can't remember what it was because I just wanted to know how much Stacklands sold because it had like 15,000 views. Vampire Survivors, I think it's like gross like £13.4 million, and it's just like, or dollars rather, and just like, good on that guy.
That's
you know?
nuts.
Yeah, that's great.
Like what, £3?
Yeah.
That is insane.
Yeah. Yeah. It sold millions of copies.
Good.
All I hope is that he paid that guy who he took the free asset pack from.
Mm.
By the sound of the developer, he seems like a nice guy from all the interviews that I've read. I think he would have.
Absolutely.
Probably commissioned him for more.
You would imagine so. Yes,
Yeah, sure.
definitely.
Yeah.
Good. Let us end there for this week. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. Catch us next week and in the future. We have been Tagged Up. Goodbye.
See ya.
Ciao.
Bella.
www.outoflives.net